the shadows of forgotten lands, where ancient myths linger and lost legends breathe, dwell creatures beyond imagination. Terrifying, mysterious, and powerful. Welcome to Monsters of the Forgotten Realm, where we uncover the secrets of beings banished from history, yet etched in whispers of fear. From colossal beasts guarding forbidden ruins to spectral horrors haunting cursed forests, these entities are more than mere tales. They are echoes of primal terror. Join us as we step into the unknown, unraveling the lore, origins, and dark truths of creatures hidden in time. Dare to face the forgotten and discover what legends try to conceal. Monsters of the Forgotten Realm. Across every culture, myths and legends have attempted to explain the unknown. Where light falters and shadows linger, people tell stories of creatures that lurk just beyond human understanding. These monsters are not merely tales to entertain around a fire. They are reflections of fear, imagination, and morality woven into the fabric of civilizations. The Forgotten Realm is a symbolic landscape, a place where suppressed stories, ancient myths, and lost nightmares gather when humanity abandons them. To explore the monsters of this realm is to venture into a living tapestry of terror, wonder, and forgotten wisdom. This essay journeys through the origins, forms, and meanings of the monsters inhabiting the Forgotten Realm, explaining their narrative function, their mythic symbolism, and the psychological resonance they continue to hold. The Forgotten Realm, a threshold between worlds. Before exploring the creatures themselves, we must understand the realm they inhabit. The Forgotten Realm is not a literal geographical space, but a mythological construct. It represents the borderland between memory and oblivion, where discarded myths, neglected fears, and untold stories dwell. Every culture has an equivalent. In Greek mythology, the underworld held spirits and shades that mortals had forgotten. In Celtic lore, the otherworld was both a paradise and a nightmare, depending on who entered. In Jungian psychology, this would be the collective unconscious, where suppressed archetypes linger until they resurface. The monsters of the Forgotten Realm thrive in obscurity, feeding on humanity's neglect. To forget a monster is not to destroy it. Instead, it is to unleash it into a liminal zone where it becomes wilder, stranger, and harder to define. Categories of monsters in the Forgotten Realm. The creatures that roam this space can be divided into 5 broad archetypes, each reflecting a universal aspect of human fear. 1. The shapeshifters, fear of identity and betrayal. Shapeshifters in the Forgotten Realm embody the terror of instability. They are creatures that refuse to remain fixed, constantly blurring the line between familiar and strange. These include the glass serpent, a beast that mirrors the faces of those who gaze into its scales, revealing distorted versions of themselves. The hollow wolves, who mimic human voices to lure wanderers deeper into the forest. The symbolism here is clear. Humans fear betrayal by the familiar. When monsters take on familiar forms, they confront us with the idea that trust can be broken and appearances are deceiving. Culturally, such creatures remind us to remain cautious and discerning. 2. The fleshless, fear of death and decay. Death is the oldest terror of humankind, and monsters that embody decay remind us of our own mortality. In the Forgotten Realm, these beings are not merely undead. They are manifestations of memory itself, clinging to existence even when the world has moved on. The lantern bearers, skeletal figures carrying lights that never extinguish, guiding lost souls yet feeding on their despair. The veil-torn, corpses that wear shrouds of mist, whispering the regrets of those who forgot them. Such creatures explain why humanity creates rituals of remembrance. To forget the dead, in this mythology, is to unleash them into the Forgotten Realm, where they return as restless, monstrous echoes. 3. The boundless beasts, fear of nature's chaos. Not all monsters resemble humans. Some are born from the earth itself, symbolizing chaos beyond comprehension. The thorned leviathan, a serpent-like creature that moves beneath forests, making entire groves shift and twist. The wind riders, colossal birds whose wings create storms whenever they take flight. These beasts are reminders of nature's unpredictability. Ancient societies, vulnerable to floods, earthquakes, and storms, embodied their fears in monstrous forms. The Forgotten Realm ensures these creatures never vanish. Whenever humanity ignores nature's power, the beasts stir once more. 4. The Mind-Eater's fear of madness and control. Some of the most terrifying monsters are those that prey on the mind rather than the body. The Forgotten Realm hosts entities that invade dreams, corrupt thoughts, and bend wills. The Whispering Crowns, insectoid parasites that sit upon a victim's head, feeding on paranoia and planting intrusive thoughts. The Mirror-Eyed Ones, creatures whose gaze forces mortals to relive their deepest shame until madness consumes them. These monsters embody the fragility of sanity. They symbolize anxieties over manipulation, mental illness, and the terror of losing control over one's own mind. 5. The Forgotten Titan's fear of cosmic insignificance. The greatest monsters of the Forgotten Realm are not beasts that stalk forests or haunt dreams, but colossal, incomprehensible entities. They are so vast and ancient that they defy categorization. The Ashen Colossus, a mountain-shaped giant whose steps create valleys and whose silence erases memory. The Maw Beneath, a living chasm said to swallow entire civilizations without leaving ruins. These titans embody existential dread, the fear that humanity is small, fragile, and ultimately meaningless in the vastness of existence. They parallel cosmic horror traditions, where the true terror lies not in destruction but in indifference. The role of monsters in human culture. Monsters from the Forgotten Realm are not random. They serve crucial functions in human storytelling and psychology. Moral lessons. By personifying dangers, monsters guide behavior. The Hollow Wolves, for example, teach distrust of strange voices in the wild. Boundary markers. Monsters define the line between safe and unsafe, sacred and profane, known and unknown. Shadows of the self. Jung suggested monsters represent the shadow, the repressed aspects of ourselves. The Mirror-Eyed Ones, for instance, force humans to confront hidden guilt. Communal memory. By embodying forgotten fears, monsters ensure societies remember their past mistakes. Thus, even in the Forgotten Realm, monsters are not meaningless horrors. They are cultural tools that help humans navigate fear. Case study: the Hollow Wolves. To understand how these creatures function, let us examine one monster in detail. The Hollow Wolves appear in stories where travelers stray from paths at night. Their eerie ability to mimic human voices, often those of loved ones, lures victims deeper into danger. In folklore, they symbolize deception by familiarity, the idea that comfort and trust can become traps. Psychologically, they represent our tendency to be misled by our desires. If we long to hear a loved one, we may ignore warning signs. In modern interpretations, they could be seen as metaphors for false promises, manipulation, or even digital deceptions like deepfakes. The Hollow Wolves endure because they strike at a universal human weakness. Our longing for connection can be used against us. How monsters evolve. A fascinating aspect of the Forgotten Realm is that its monsters are not fixed. As human fears change, so too do the creatures. In ancient times, plagues and famine gave rise to corpse-like monsters symbolizing disease. In the Industrial Age, monsters became machines, iron beasts reflecting fears of technology. In today's digital age, one might imagine data wraiths, monsters that consume memories stored online, erasing identities. Thus, the Forgotten Realm is not static. It is a living archive of fear, updating itself with every era. Monsters and modern relevance. Why do these creatures still matter today? One could argue that rational science has dismissed monsters as superstition. Yet, monsters persist because they translate abstract anxieties into tangible images. Climate change becomes the thorned leviathan, an unstoppable force beneath the earth. Surveillance states become the mirror-eyed ones, forcing us to face the terror of constant watching. Global pandemics echo the veil-torn, spectral reminders of forgotten deaths. By embodying modern fears, the monsters of the Forgotten Realm remain relevant, ensuring humanity cannot easily forget what haunts it. The Forgotten Realm as a narrative device. Beyond folklore, writers and storytellers use the Forgotten Realm as a narrative device. It allows for the exploration of lost histories by placing a monster in the realm. A story can imply it was once known but later erased. This deepens world building. Moral ambiguity. Monsters from the realm are not always evil. Some, like the lantern bearers, guide travelers even as they feed on despair. Exploration of fear. The Forgotten Realm externalizes what humans repress, allowing audiences to confront it safely through fiction. This is why games, novels, and films often invent similar, forgotten spaces. They are rich, flexible canvases for exploring the monstrous. The eternal dance. Humanity and monsters. Ultimately, the monsters of the Forgotten Realm are not enemies to be defeated but mirrors to be understood. Humanity and monsters exist in a cycle. Humans create monsters from their fears. Monsters embody those fears in memorable, terrifying forms. Humanity confronts the monsters, learns, and forgets. Forgotten monsters return, reshaped, in new forms. This cycle ensures that as long as humans fear, monsters will never vanish. The Forgotten Realm is not a prison for monsters. It is a reservoir, waiting for us to look back into it. Conclusion. The monsters of the Forgotten Realm are not just creatures of fantasy. They are guardians of human memory, embodiments of forgotten fears, and storytellers of truths we often neglect. From shapeshifters that challenge trust, to titans that dwarf humanity's significance, each monster serves as a symbolic reminder of the forces we cannot control or fully understand. To write them off as mere fiction is to underestimate their power. Monsters endure because they evolve with us, reflecting every age's anxieties. They are eternal companions, lurking at the edges of our awareness, reminding us that to forget is never to erase. The Forgotten Realm is not truly forgotten. It is a living archive of fear, waiting to be rediscovered by each generation. When we tell monster stories, we are not just entertaining ourselves. We are confronting echoes of the past, shadows of the self, and possibilities of the future. The monsters wait, patient and timeless, in the shadows of the Forgotten Realm. And when we look into the darkness, we find that the monsters are never truly gone, because in truth, they are part of us. The journey through the Forgotten Realm has shown us monsters that defy imagination, guardians of secrets, shadows of fear, and echoes of lost worlds. But these tales are far from over. Which creature haunted you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments and let us know what mysteries you'd like us to uncover next. If you enjoyed exploring these legends, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to join us on future adventures into the unknown. Until then, remember, the realm of forgotten monsters may be closer than you think, lurking just beyond the edge of memory.